It's 2010. It's 11 years after my father has died. And I'm going through a file drawer and discarding old papers and receipts, and I discover my father's will. And it's like no time had passed. A flood of emotion came pouring in. Now I'm just about ready to toss out this will, and I paused, and I flipped it to the second page. And in that moment, I received a seed of an idea. It was just a little spark of inspiration. Kind of like the universe leaned over and whispered a special secret just between the two of us. It was both a sense of a surprise and a deep knowing. Now, some people call these synchronicities, others coincidences or divine interventions, but Elizabeth Gilbert and I, we like to call it magic. And in her book, Big Magic, she writes that ideas are energetic life forms, that they have will and consciousness, and they're just floating around, waiting to land and inhabit on some lucky soul that will manifest it, like you or you. The idea that landed and inhabited me was seeing my father's signature, his handwriting, his name. You see, no one in the entirety of time will ever write Alan Barton in that particular, specific, and unique way. I know that signature, I've seen it all my life. So it became an inspiration for a story choreography piece based on What Is Your Legacy that I choreographed and produced at the Diana Wortham Theater. It was a show called Hand Me Down. So if you think about it, we're born and we're given a name, and we carry that name through our whole life. Even if you change it, it is still a foundation of your legacy. It is still a thread of your identity. We lead with our name. Walk into any room and you reach out your hand and you say, "Hi, I am." You will sign your checks, you will sign your applications, and we will all, at some point, sign our wills. So, if you have a name, you have a story. So what is the story of your name? Were you named by a relative? Did your best friend give you that special nickname that you've carried? Or were you liberated like I was to reclaim my maiden name after my divorce? Or were you named after something in nature, like a rose? So here's how this thing worked. As I had my cast members write a pithy, poignant, or humorous story about their name. And then, of course, rehearsals became a treasure chest of sharing of those stories. Now, some of our cast members loved and cherished their namesake, and others not so much. They weren't proud of carrying that legacy. 3 members of our cast, 3 women, discovered that they were going to be named after one of their father's former girlfriends. Go figure. And one member had all 4 of her sisters were named Marie, middle name, after some mysterious aunt. Many of these stories were sweetly self-deprecating, like this one. I was a clumsy kid, born pigeon-toed. I wore my right shoe on my left foot and my left shoe on my right foot to straighten them out. I couldn't ever coordinate my arms on the monkey bars. You remember me, the last kid picked for gym class team. Go figure, my parents named me Grace. And if you live in Asheville, you have likely met someone with a spiritual name. And we had one of those in our cast too. This is her story. I went to my teacher for a name. He said, "You are Avatar." I was overwhelmed. The living consciousness of God? And then he looked at me and he said, "But you're living your life like an idiot." I legally accepted my name, And it helped me to know who I was and to see the God being in all of you. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what about the signature part? So I had my cast members sign their name. All of them sign their name. And so then you as the audience are sitting in the audience, you're looking on stage, you see a performer, you're listening to their story, and behind them, you will see their particular, specific, and unique signature. Ask anybody to tell you the story of their name, and you are entering into a world of family, traditions, and possibly even, what were your parents thinking? So my team for this event tonight said, you should put your signature up there on one of your slides. So I wanted to share this one. This was one of my first attempts at 4 years old to write my name. Pretty good for a lefty, I think. And I couldn't help, of course, to finish my presentation tonight circling back to the greatest spark of inspiration in my life, which is my dad. He was a lover of life and people and these mountains, and it's his birthday today. So thank you.